Richmond is the action track, Bristol is the last great Coliseum, but Martinsville is simply and affectionately known as the Paperclip. Bookended by a pair of hairpin left turns at each end of the speedway, Martinsville has managed to stand the test of time and has always been a top-tier NASCAR racing facility, hosting racing since the late 1940s and continuing to be one of oval racing's longest-running speedways anywhere in the world. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Ridgeway, Virginia. I'm Edge Cardinale IV with Zach Burtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you once again for coverage of the Boosted Safe 200 for the All-American Racing Network. Today's coverage is brought to you by Bully Dog Coffee Company, by Boosted Safe, and by Whiplash SimCams. And Zach, I'm glad to be back here. You know, when we started this journey with the All-American Racing Network back in January, it was for the Boosted Safe 200. That was or I guess it was a 150 actually at Bristol. That was a recruitment race at Bristol back in January, and we put race number 0 on there. Now it's cool to look back and see race number 7 on the graphics here today. Martinsville Speedway, though, it's a little ways from Bristol, a little ways from Richmond, kind of in between those two. It's not far from Charlotte. It's a great location and a great racetrack.
Yeah, just like South Boston, it's not too far across the Virginia border when it comes to racetracks going from North Carolina to Virginia. But Martinsville has had its fair share of amazing history when it comes to racing. Like you said, it's one of the longest running oval racetracks in the United States. There's not really very many racetracks that are older than it. I can think of Indianapolis Motor Speedway as being older than it.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, yes. Milwaukee is older than it. I want to say Watkins Glen, but I think I'm shooting a little bit too far on that one.
I think technically you could look back at Watkins Glen and Road America, but those are road courses. That's a whole different game. I will say I think National Fairgrounds has been around about that long or longer. So I think Indy, Milwaukee, Nashville, those are kind of like the three oldest, but then Martinsville is not far behind, and North Wilkesboro was getting started around this time. So this is a classic NASCAR racetrack.
Absolutely it is, and it's one of my favorite racetracks. It was the first race I ever attended for a NASCAR race. That would be the spring race of 2013, and if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy Johnson won that race. So it's a fantastic facility, and I'll never forget Kurt Busch blowing a motor in turn 2 right in front of me. So hopefully none of these guys do it today. I don't think they will. The iRacing.com sim has not necessarily simulated that. So let's have some fun today, Andrew. Martinsville always produces a great show, and I'm excited to see what these guys turn loose today.
And of course, we do have some point standings to take a look at this morning. And here we go. Sean Hughes on top of the standings. Zach King 13 back. Hughes, of course, got that first win of the season last week at Darlington Raceway. That's where the NASCAR Cup Series goes later today. But in the meantime, Sean Hughes with that win a week ago. Zach King, Cameron Combs now second and third. I don't know the IC. Okay, Combs has signed in. We do not have one of the 4 Dash for Cash drivers. That is Coulter Clark. He is actually in Darlington today for the NASCAR Cup Series race, so he will not be in today's race here on Pit Stop TV. But we do have the other 3, those being Cameron Combs, Robert Hissong, and Jordan White. White actually turning his qualifying laps now. But this is an early look at the chase, playoffs, whatever you want to call it, Zach. We're taking 10. Right now, that cut line, well, it would be a tie between Greg Van Nice and Adam Ramsey. And not far out of that conversation, you got a bunch of drivers within 10 points. I mean, Adam Ramsey, Matt Opplinger, Chris Etchepar, Tony Krieger, Kevin Bullock, Mark Bender, Jordan White, Corey Powell, all within 10 points of the cut line. That extends all the way down to 18th position on this graphic right now, and it's not like the guy is close behind or that far back either. So this is all very, very close. Obviously, though, it's early in the season, and if we look forward into the rest of the season here on the schedule graphic, we can see we've got a classic NASCAR schedule ahead as Jordan White will set pole time in the background. But of course, after today, we head out to Bristol next week. We are away from our channel and over on, I believe, Pirate Broadcasting for Kansas and Talladega. Then we come back at Texas and continue at Watkins Glen. So that kind of gives you a preview as to what's upcoming here in the All-American Racing Network. And of course, we still have a whole summer stretch to go through here in 2026. I do want to get to one order of business, and that is going to be this graphic here, Zach. This is new. We have not had this yet for the NASCAR Cup cars, the Gen 7 cars, but if you're new, maybe, to what the NASCAR Cup Series actually runs on Sundays, and therefore we run on Sunday mornings here at the All-American Racing Network, this is a breakdown of the NASCAR Cup Series Generation 7 vehicle, Zach, and all the details there in front of you.
Absolutely. I look at the details for the Gen 7 car, and I think about how it drives at Martinsville, and it's all just coming back to me. But they've definitely made some improvements with this Generation 7 car, at least moving into this year. The short track package has changed a little bit. There is a couple of different things that might make a difference going into this race specifically. With the Generation 7 car, they added a rear-end diffuser, a little bit more of a ground effect type style race car, and going into the short track package, the rear diffuser is no longer on the race car. The horsepower has been increased from 550 to 670. It shows on there on the graphic. It is track dependent, though. There are a few different tracks that run the 670 package. There are a few tracks that run a little over 700 now. It's 5-speed sequential, obviously, with the compartmentalized steel. You're gonna have to. I'm getting tongue-tied, Andrew. Oh my goodness.
Well, you can see it all there, of course. The chassis now has the kind of modulated, I guess, if you will, or compartmentalized is the best word, I think, for it, front and rear clips. So basically, if you damage the front or rear clip of the race car, you can take it back to the shop and unbolt that more easily and save the center, the cockpit of the race car, the greenhouse. So it just allows these guys to do a little more work in the back, behind the scenes. There we go. But of course, that doesn't really apply here on iRacing. As far as iRacing is concerned, the biggest differences are some of the aero stuff that you got into with the rear diffuser, the spoiler, the venting there through the hood. There's a lot to get into. There's a lot to talk about with this car. I think as it's going to apply to Martinsville today, though, what you need to know is these guys can do some shifting between third and fourth gears. They will not be using fifth today, just up to fourth. And it's going to be tricky to get through those gears on restarts. It'll be interesting to see what gear these guys decide to restart in, if they want to go for first or second. That, I think, will be a big conversation over the course of the day. And really, these guys just need to manage brakes on entry to the corner, make sure not to chatter the rear tires or anything, make sure not to lock up the left front if at all possible, and just try to save tires over the course of the race. Now, there is a penalty out there for a driver in the field today. It's actually the driver who qualified on pole so far, Jourdain White. He'll be starting from the rear of the field, and he was talking, should I just bomb through the field? What should I do? It's like, no, man, save your tires, save your stuff, get through this race. It's a long one here today. As you see there on the Whiplash SimCam's race details, we'll revisit this in a second, but bottom right of your screen, 200 laps, 105 miles. I know we had 300 recently with Nora, but 200 laps here is still a chunky amount of time. That's actually as long as the Valley Star Credit Union 300 goes for their feature event. So this is a longer race for sure for these guys, despite being maybe a little bit shorter than you might expect. It's still a long one at a racetrack like this, and I'm excited. We do have one final order of business, though, in kind of pre-race terms, Zach, as qualifying is wrapped up. We can throw the times up on the left side of the screen. We have officially brought over something we've been doing in other series. We just wanted to wait for some more races to get completed here in the All-American Racing Network, and we can take a look now at our very own power rankings. And Coulter Clark, right up at the top, not racing today, but he's not far ahead of Cameron Combs. So I think that 15 car may well take over today. Sean Hughes, though, Jourdain White, they are certainly in the running, and Robert Hissong has been strong lately. He could jump up there and surprise some people, I think. Zach King is one to watch, certainly. Christopher Foote, Chris Romano, a bunch of these guys in the top 10. I will say I feel like Romano, Foote, and Krieger are kind of surprises to me. Adam Ramsey, it makes sense that he's in this top 10. I'll be intrigued to see who is either in or out of this top 10 going into Bristol next week.
I think those are some solid power rankings, though. I think we're going to see a lot of those guys running up towards the front. Obviously, you mentioned it already, Jourdain White has to run to the rear, but I can't wait to see how a lot of these guys tackle this track. It's going to be very, very difficult in this Generation 7 car. They're going to be shifting. They're going to be trying not to lock up that left front, and it's going to be a staggering race today.
There you see Jourdain White on the front of the grid. Let's go ahead and run down through your ATVO starting grid here today. Jourdain White has qualified on pole, but has a penalty that will send him to the rear of the field. an EOL here on the start of the race. That will put Zach King on pole. But as far as the grid is set, Jordan White on the front row alongside Chris Romano. Back in third, how about Zach King and Robert Hissong, a couple of front-runner contenders, and 2 Dash for Cash drivers in your top 4. Kevin Bullock will start from 5th with Matthew McMeekin back in 6th spot. Adam Ramsey, Chris Foote there in 7th and 8th. And for row 5, Chris Fainer and Mark Bender.
Row number 6 will be made up of a couple of cars with 7s on them. That's going to be Casey Gross and Sean Hughes. And then rolling down into the 13th position, you'll find Chad Fox. To his outside, you'll find Justin Young in that 14th position. Rolling off in the row behind them, though, row number 8, that's going to be Clifford Allison and Chris Etchapar in the 7 and the 88 car. And then 17th and 18th on the starting grid today, you'll find Austin Adams and Jeffrey Johnson rolling off in that 27 and 59. And then right behind them, rounding out row number 10, you'll find Michael Ravillo and Douglas Scalise.
And back in 21st spot, how about Corey Powell alongside Cameron Combs, one of the other Dash for Cash drivers. Back in 23rd, Elijah Mopin. He will not make it into the race. He had some kind of technical difficulty that's going to prevent him from racing today, but he did sign into the session and qualify 23rd with Mark Helsel 24th. And that is it. 24 cars here. I think a few drivers got scared of Martinsville, Zach. I was talking with Doug a little bit ago, and we're kind of surprised to see the car count down this low. Maybe some drivers on the wait list could be accepted. I don't know, but some guys, it seems, don't want to come out here and go short track racing today.
Short tracks. The great equalizer, I like to say, when it comes to the iRacing.com sim leagues. A lot of people like to prefer the super speedways over the short tracks just because it's a bit more of a gamble, but I like my short tracks. I like being able to come out here and be a little technical, try to run with them and see what we can do in these tight hairpin turns, or something like Langley where it's a little bit more wider, shorter straightaways. There's always the fun characteristics that short tracks bring, and
well, here today we've got 200 laps. Whiplash SimCam's race details bottom right. 200 laps, 105 miles. Cautions will count, 3 green white checkers if we need them. Weather conditions quickly. Let's see if we can hit them right quick. There you see bottom right. 67 degrees in the air, 80 degrees on track. It is beautiful racing conditions here in virtual Martinsville. Off of turn 4, the boosted safe 200 will get green in the restart zone. Zach King kicks things off at Martinsville. We're racing at Ridgeway, Virginia's very own Martinsville Speedway. One lap complete off the start of the race. It's Zach King out ahead. One was in the wall. That was a 23 car. But everybody gets by that first lap okay.
Jordan White already starting to make up positions in the back of the field. He's up to the 18. Oh, wrecking!
He's in it. Caution is out. Turns 1 and 2. Michael Rovillo turned around in the number 2 car. He had a rough week at Darlington last week. Was not happy with a couple of drivers. But here today, already not an ideal start for him. You saw the 23 at the racetrack in 3 and 4. This is down to turns 1 and 2 for Rovillo in the 2 car. He just lost it under braking all on his own.
Yeah, overcooked it just a tad. It's going to be one common thing we see today. Drivers getting in just a little bit too hot.
Yeah, this is exactly what I talked about earlier.
Oh, he downshifted too early.
Trying to manage the brakes and not shatter the rears, and that's exactly what happened to Mike there. Is he got hard on the brakes into one, downshifted, and shattered the rears. And every time, especially on cold tires, that's going to be a spin. So watch it. 4th, boom. As soon as he hit the brakes, he went down to 3rd. And that's going to shatter the rear suspension every single time. Maybe you can get away with that in a solid rear axle where, you just wheel hop into the corner. Maybe you can get away with that. But in an independent rear suspension like this, you are going to have trouble every single time, especially on these cold tires. So that's something these guys have to learn and adjust to. If they were running, trucks or Xfinity, or I guess O'Reilly's cars at any point this week at Martinsville and got used to just burying it off into the corner, you can't do it quite the same way in this Cup car.
Unfortunately not. That is just something, like you said, they're going to have to adjust to and see how they can adapt over the course of the race. And with it being only lap 5, there's not going to be really any pit stops other than maybe to fix some damage. get these cars back out on the racetrack, and it's the trials and tribulations of running this Generation 7 car at this racetrack, Andrew. It's what I talked about at the top of the show. You know, these cars are incredibly difficult to drive at this racetrack now. When we brought the Gen 6 car here, the type of way to do it was just to throw it down into the corner, drive it straight entry. Now it's worrying about the downshift, messing with the master cylinder. It's a whole different type of ball game.
We're going to get this ball game restarted, though, as it seems Zach King will hang on to the race lead. Kevin Bullock will start on his outside, Adam Ramsey and Chris Romano in row number 2. We had a couple of takers in the pit lane under this yellow, those being Rovillo and Casey Gross. So Zach King brings us down to turns 3 and 4. We will get this party restarted this time. Out of turn 4 to the restart zone, Zach King, Kevin Bullock, Adam Ramsey, 6 laps complete. This time, we're racing again at the paperclip. And down the front stretch, 1 lap complete off of the green, 1 up high. I believe that was the 33 of Bender.
Oh, wrecking!
Oh boy, there they go.
Big parking lot front straightaway. They were 3 wide coming off of turn number 4, and it did not work out in anyone's favor right there.
Jeffrey Johnson and others still trying to get themselves turned around, and oh boy, track blocker for the leaders coming by. Johnson gonna hold steady. Now he starts to back up. This is a tricky spot to be in.
Well, he's gonna go a lap down now.
Let's see what happened here to everybody off of this restart. Douglas Scalise working with the 23 of Chris Fainer. This, I believe, is where it happens. And yeah, Scalise comes up into Etchepar. And that's that.
Corey Powell just comes right to a stop right there. Stays out of the incident.
So watch this off turn 4. This is the 3
wide.
Johnson nowhere to go as the 23 backed up across the racetrack, seemingly with abandon for the rest of the field. That was not ideal there. I mean, the 59 trying to get through all of that, and his hole closed up pretty quick. Here's from the drone cam. They were just reacting to the car on the outside, and Scalise come up off the bottom, and they ran out of room.
The car in the middle right there. I feel like Etchepar could have maybe held a bit more of a straighter line, because you can see he just kind of turns down a little bit to react to the 23 to his outside. I don't know. It's a really hard thing to see.
Yeah, Etchepar was trying to give the 23 a room who was hanging off the wall, and that's kind of where that it starts, and then the 23 comes back across the racetrack. Helsel, oh my gosh, the bit of avoiding he had to do there. That was a little bit scary. Here's one final look at this incident. This is Helsel's view. You can see Jordan White down low. Helsel, one car comes up, and then he has to go down, and oh my goodness.
I'd say that's a nomination for Murtis Esports Murtis Mega Miss of the race.
Well, there you go for the 45 car. Early a nomination for Mark. He's going to restart around the 16th position on this upcoming restart.
I don't know what it is, Andrew. Maybe it's just the kid in me, but I love that Flintstone scheme. Cartoon Network all over it. It's very nostalgic to me.
An oldie but a goodie as the field gets reset, restacked, re-racked. 12 laps complete this time by. We will rinse, repeat, try it all again. Zach King still out front. Adam Ramsey, position number 2. Green flag off the corner, and we are racing again at Martinsville. Adam Ramsey seems well rested and ready to go this morning, Zach. He was right on the back bumper of Zach King all the way into turns 1 and 2, and then again in 3 and 4. He's giving the 51 some competition up front.
Hey, nothing like driving a race car on the sim to get your blood pumping in the morning. That's what I always say. Actually, I don't always say that, but hey, it works. But King is definitely trying to hang on to that lead, only 15 laps into the race now. Ramsey seems to be having a bit more of a drive into the corner as he goes purple. So that's the fastest lap of the race. Just watch through the onboard right here. King opens up his entry a little bit more than Ramsey does, and he just slots that car in on the back bumper. Loses it on exit, but he's closing ever so much as the race goes on.
Adam faster again there, 19.123. I think he's charging the corner a little more. It's clearly making speed, but it's definitely a bit more aggressive. And oh, he's about to hit King in the back bumper. King has the better racing line. Ramsey has the better qualifying line right now. I think that's the big distinction right here. King is getting the better run off the corner. Ramsey's getting the better run into the corner.
I think if King just hangs on to it, Ramsey's going to end up burning up his tires at this rate because with how much he's charging the corner, he's going to start snapping on entry because those rear tires are going to be taking all of that load and all of that wear. Not to mention that right front. That right front's going to be taking a lot of wear as well. So, and there's King setting the fastest lap of the race. I think he's got it on lock if Ramsey keeps charging the corner like he is.
Well, look at the picture they're in right now. They are well ahead of everybody else. Nobody near them currently. Third place, Kevin Bullock, is 3.5 seconds back of these two, and that's where the race really begins. From Bullock down through his song, McMeekin, Romano, and Bender, your top 7. Then there's a slight battle here with Sean Hughes and Clifford Allison. I mean, it is no contest right now. The top 2 are the best 2 cars here currently. Jordan White even is stuck back in traffic. He is in the 13th spot, back here behind Chris Echapar.
He's moved up a lot of spots, though, after being involved in the first wreck and getting caught up and slowed down by the second wreck. So he's working his way forward ever so slowly, trying to find a way down to the bottom here to see if he can move past the 88. There it is. Big send into the corner. Look at those brake rotors already glowing red. And on the inside of the 88 car, give the nose in front to Jourdain, but at the line, still not making up any spots.
Some lockup there out of Chris Foote. Austin Adams, meanwhile, shoots underneath the 88 car as Jordan White will create that hole for him. Jourdain now looks to the inside of Foote there into turn 3. This is now the battle for 11th position. And White will have the advantage there to turn number 1, so he will continue to trek through the field after his early penalty. Further back, Casey Gross currently racing with the number 2 of Rovillo. They swap spots. That is for 19th spot. And just ahead of these two, Cameron Combs, one of the Dash for Cash drivers here today, is stuck back in the 18th spot. I never would have guessed this after he nearly won the race last week at Darlington. I never would have expected him to be this deep in the field. But just because you're quick on a track like Darlington, an intermediate near Speedway, does not mean you'll be quick when you go hairpin racing at Martinsville Speedway.
You're going to have to explain this to me real quick because I was not here last week for this Dash for Cash.
Well, it's pretty simple. It's NASCAR Rally's Auto Parts Series style Dash for Cash. Basically, we qualified 4 drivers in after, golly, what was the racetrack we went to before Darlington?
Vegas?
Yeah, I guess so. So the top 4 at Las Vegas. Right, was it Vegas? Regardless, the top 4 in that race qualified into the Dash for Cash. That walked in Robert Hissong, Jourdain White, Coulter Clark, and Cameron Combs. Last week was the first week of the Dash for Cash. They accumulate points over 4 total races, I believe it is. And we'll skip Kansas and Talladega while we are not here for coverage here at the channel. So those races will not count for the Dash for Cash. It was Darlington last week, Martinsville today, Bristol next week, and then Texas in a handful of weeks that will count towards it. The most points at the end of those handful of races will win the Dash for Cash and the extra $100. So, Cameron Combs, I believe, leading that after last week at Darlington, but Robert Hissong making a loud statement right now to take that over as he runs 7th. He's a couple of spots ahead still of Jourdain White, and they are many spots ahead of Cameron Combs.
Jourdain's moved himself further up, and it looks like he's going to go for another spot here to the inside of Hughes. That is 1 more spot gain for Jourdain White, and now Robert Hissong and White are just separated by, I want to say, a few car lengths now. Half a car length going into one, and the caution is out. Front straightaway right here.
Justin Young, the 20 car. And he is going to lose a lap in the process. Let's see what happened to driver number 20. He was racing kind of on his own back here behind Mark Helsel, so about the 15th spot. Up the racetrack in 3 and 4 and just over-rotated. And this is the trouble, Zach. You get too deep into the corner, get high up the racetrack off of turn 4, even turn 2, you're going to have a lot more wheel cranked into it to try and make the back end of the corner. And as soon as the banking falls away, the car gets completely free.
Absolutely. We've seen it time and time again. I've felt it in a race car before. It's not a very fun feeling. You just overdrive the corner a little bit too much, and like you said, Andrew, the banking falls away as you get onto the straightaway, and the weight transfer does not help you going from banking to flat. There you see it, and he just steps the right side over the concrete. And there it is.
So Justin Young will go towards the rear of the field that lap down as well, and our leaders still have not yet pitted. These guys only have a handful of sets today, 3 change sets, so this is still early. You do not want to take tires yet if you don't have to. Try to save those sets for later in the race. Honestly, you might want to stretch this set out to like lap 75 if you can.
I was going to say 75 would be the number. 75, 150, and then you've still got a set of tires for the last 50 laps. I mean, that would be the most beneficial option if you're trying to conserve sets, especially if you need one for a green-white checkered. I always like to play the strategy of saving one for a green-white checkered.
So still early here in this Boosted Safe 200. We've talked a bit about Boosted Safe in the past, but Boosted Safe, today's presenting partner, is the world's first car safe that securely latches directly into the backseat of every vehicle, large enough for your laptop or gaming devices, so you can feel secure even when on the go. Check it out at boostedsafe.com and use code iRacing20 for 20% off at checkout. That is all caps, iRacing20 for 20% off at checkout. A big thank you as well to Bully Dog Coffee Company for being this season's presenting partner of the All-American Racing Network Next Gen Cup Series. The field gets ready down here in turns 3 and 4. We're going racing again this time off of turn 4 into the restart zone. Zach King still in control. Let's watch this one from the fan cam, shall we, Zach? Green flag on the way. There it is. Matthew McMeekin on that restart. A big pass to get ahead of Adam Ramsey. I don't know if that'll hold up, Zach. Ramsey looks pretty good, and McMeekin gets the best of himself. Dives way too far into turn 1.
Big send down to the bottom from Ramsey. Trying to cross him back over. McMeekin is going to fall in line, and Ramsey goes right back to the second spot, but that's allowed Zach King to have a bigger lead than he had before the caution came out. Saw a little bit of a left front lockup from Ramsey. That's what I was talking about earlier in the show, Andrew. These left front lockups, they're going to be very, very common as the race goes on.
Looking at a battle starting to pick up again between Robert Hissong and Jordan White. White, of course, has a bit of damage on the right front from earlier when he was just involved in that crash with Michael Ravillo in turn 2. But I don't think that's hindering the 83 at all. He is working through the field again. He had to go to the rear on the start, so while he qualified first, really he started back in 24th spot because he had to go all the way to the back, and now is looking at the inside of Robert Hissong for the 6th position. This is for your top spot in the Dash for Cash. This is important.
We saw it again, a little bit of a left front lockup. To the inside, Jordan White is going to take it away. New leader in the Dash for Cash, Jordan White. And he is up to the 6th spot. He's got a bit of a gap to the cars in front, but he is leading for a good portion of a chunk of change.
And again, you got to accumulate points over these races that are in the Dash for Cash this season. So again, Last week at Darlington, today at Martinsville, next week at Bristol, and then in a few weeks at Texas Motor Speedway. So this is going to help Jourdain White. It's not going to change the lead in the point standings just yet, I don't think. But this is certainly going to go towards it and towards this mini race championship that these guys are working towards. Meanwhile, Clifford Allison looks like he might have something for Robert Hissong that would bury the 29 just a little bit deeper in the field. And there's the lockup out of Hissong into 1 and 2. And Allison blinking a little bit. That's not ideal. That is, as they say, suboptimal for the number 7. Battle, though, a little bit deeper in the field. Chad Fox on the outside, that's the number 12. Etchapar on the inside, that's the number 88, running a Shane Van Gisbergen-inspired paint scheme there for sure. And the inside now goes Casey Gross on the number 12 of Chad Fox. This is now for the 12th position. Gross moves on through, and Chad Fox is going to lose a couple there.
Just a couple of spots can mean a difference here at Martinsville. It can mean a lot for your race strategy, realistically. It's on board with Fox. Little bit of a wiggle in front. Keep it straight. We got one car on the wall up there. Who is that? Riding the outside wall off of turn number 2. Causing a bit of a gaggle, spreading out all over into turn number 3. That is Powell.
He does not have it today, it seems. He's been towards the outside wall a lot today. Corey Powell does not seem to be getting along with Martinsville Speedway. He is way up yonder in the marbles. And he is already 3 laps down. The only driver behind him currently is Jeffrey Johnson, who is back in 23rd. There he is. He's about to go a 4th lap down as Rovilla goes way up the racetrack. He meets the outside wall. Feiner goes a lap down. And they just hinder the 97 there briefly. So certainly a few of these drivers not getting along with the racetrack at all.
What are you going to do? It's Martinsville. This is exactly what we talked about. The lockups, the technical sections of this racetrack, and just how strenuous it can be on these drivers. And we're almost a quarter of the way through this race. I think these guys are starting to come to grips on what they really are going to expect over the course of these long runs.
Riding on board of Cameron Combs, trying to chase down the 01 of Kevin Bullock. And Scaleless now to the inside of Combs. This is a position lost now for the 15. Foot comes in, big time lockup into turn 3. And Combs is going to go another spot back. He's already down to 17th. A spin now. Clifford Allison around.
Sitting right up there in turn number 2, turned around. Going to try to pull down, get out of harm's way. Well, he is out of harm's way, but he wants to get back running with these guys. This is the lap previous, so we take a look at it.
Still having those blinks. And down here in turns 1 and 2. It's hard to say, but considering he was on his own, it looks like he lost it under braking, likely a downshift, chattered the rear tires again, but with all those blinks, it's really hard to say exactly what happened there to car number 7. Some pit stops under this yellow. McMeekin and Romano going to come in. I mean, this does split the race exactly into quarters. It could work, but I don't know that I would take tires this early.
I think I see where the play is, but I don't think it's one that's going to totally work in their favor. If they make the strategy work, more power to them. I'm the type of person that once I have a strategy locked in, it makes sense to me, and it's just what I'm going to keep working with. Oh, boy.
Seems the leaders wanted to do this too. They just didn't get a chance the first time around, maybe. So King, Ramsey, they will come in. White, Adams, and a whole bunch more. Mark Bender does stay out. Kevin Bullock, it seems, will stay out. And that, I think, is where the strategy is. I think you want to stay out under this caution just a little bit longer. If you've got the fuel, I suppose that's part of it. If you're low on fuel, maybe you do come in here and not chance it. But I think tires-wise, I would want to go longer if possible.
I'm thinking the exact same thing. Zach King wins the race off pit road right there. I would say he did totally win the race off pit road, but we had 2 cars pit before the leaders did, so they're going to jump the field.
Yeah, that's going to put Matthew McMeekin up in the 4th spot. 3 stay out. Those are Bender, Bullock, and Scalise. And the field will reset and get ready to go back racing. Cameron Combs is going to jump up a good bit out of this. Of course, he seems to have pitted with McMeekin and Romano, so that paid off nicely for the 15 car. He gained a whole bunch of track position. Now, these guys don't have stages, but man, if we had one coming up, that would have been a big gain for a couple of these guys, and a big loss, of course, for a bunch of others. As here we go, restart zone for the first time today.
Lights are back
a
on the pace
different
car,
driver in control, and yeah, you see the iRacing.com safety car down to the right side of the screen. Lights back on as a couple of drivers maybe aren't set to go. And so we'll try this over again. There's the iRacing.com safety car. The field picks it back up. And we'll give this another shot. I think we're going to try it again right here, Zach. And yes. Safety car back down to pit lane. Mark Bender in control. Kevin Bullock on his outside. Scalise and McMeekin row 2. Romano and Combs row 3. Then King and Ramsey row number 4. Green flag on the way. We're racing again at the paperclip. So far, this is the biggest wrench thrown into this race. It has really jumbled everything up. Zach King, who led the opening 50 laps or so of this race, he's mired now in 3rd, but he's getting through this field pretty quick.
Rolling back up through the field after restarting a couple rows back. And the caution is out once again, so it looks like we're going to have to reset, refocus as 2 cars around. That's Ravillo down there on the bottom.
Rovillo, Feiner, and Johnson all again. This is not any of their first incidents of the day, unfortunately. Let's see what happened to these drivers towards the back of the field. Rovillo behind the 59 of Johnson, locks up, then hits Johnson, then gets hit by Powell, and that's what sets it all off. Let's watch again the 2 car. He's going to dive, nearly hit the 59, lock up, then he hits him, and then Powell hits the 2, and that kind of just finishes it all off.
Powell just saw the lane there, drove through it, and I guess it wasn't as big of a lane as he thought it was going to be. Oh, there was a little bit of netcode right there.
Yeah, there was. I think they likely would have made contact regardless. Now, how big that contact would have been, that maybe is the part you could argue. I think they were going to hit no matter what, just maybe not quite as hard to put them into this situation. Pit stops, though, is the 2 is in, and it seems the 23 came in briefly, but headed back out. Bullock pitted after staying out, so he is now towards the rear of the field. And the 2 is losing at least a lap here under caution. Justin Young back on the racetrack. Jeffrey Johnson also pitted under this yellow flag. Well, the next little while here on Pit Stop TV is about to get a lot busier than it has been the last couple of weeks. Now, this upcoming week, I suppose, is still kind of the same holding pattern. It's a little bit of a lighter schedule, Zach, but as we get into April, things are about to pick up. But here you see the next 3 shows on the channel. Tomorrow night, we head to Phoenix International Raceway. Yes, the old Phoenix for the NORRA Retro Cup Series. 2003 NASCAR Cup cars on the Legacy scan of Phoenix. And then next Sunday, we head out to Bristol Motor Speedway to pick up the next race of this All-American Racing Network. And then next Monday, we take the same NORRA Retro Cup Series out to Talladega Superspeedway on Monday, March the 30th. So some short track racing, some speedway racing, all coming up for us here at the channel as we get set to go back racing after 60 complete here at Martinsville Speedway. Let's try it again. One lap complete off the restart. King and Romano sorting out the second spot currently. You see that from the static cams. And they are side by side off of turn number 2. Zach and Zach King will finally clear the 44 car and get away. Romano with a slight lockup there in turn 3. And these three I think could be a lot of fun to watch actually. Romano, McMeekin, and Ramsey. I think Ramsey's a little bit quicker, otherwise they're all pretty even. And throw in White now, right behind him. Oh, hello.
A little nudge up to the back bumper never hurt anybody.
I don't think there was contact, but White certainly got close there to Adam Ramsey for a moment as Mark Bender is going to lose the lead. He just went up the racetrack and lost it to Zach King, so car 51 takes back over here on lap 64. Bender headed the wrong direction. And he has yet to pit. That could be why he's having trouble here.
Stay down under the caution flag, and these new tires are definitely creating a bit of a distance between the fresh and the old, but
I'm telling you, though,
still
Zach,
rolling.
He's got an extra set. If he knows how to use that, that could come in handy in 100 laps.
That it could. Like I said, Andrew, I'm a big advocate for saving sets of tires to use later on in the race, and I think 75 is the sweet spot number. We got one spinner off of turn number 3. That's gonna put out the caution flag once again. That's Hellcell in that 45 car. Once again turned around.
This is going to be with help. Watch the 45. That's the bright yellow car. Flintstones on the side, hood, and every panel of that car. But watch the 27 behind it. That's Austin Adams. And down here to turn 3. A bit of a disagreement over who was going to take what line, I think. Honestly, Zach, it looked like maybe Hellcell might have blocked a tiny bit. A tiny bit. But Adams definitely just right through the left rear of the 45 car. Honestly, it's almost a stretch to call that a block. I mean, that he bled over a little bit maybe, but I don't think they were ever going to make the corner like that.
I don't think so either.
To Adams' credit, he had a great run, but as they got to turn 3, it was not going to be sustainable there into the corner, and that's the trouble too, Zach. I don't think people realize, more often than not, that when you get a run on one of these racetracks, you dive off into the next corner, you have to remember you might have to brake sooner because you are literally going faster. You got to run off the previous corner. You're going faster by the time you get to the next braking zone. So you've got to brake a little bit sooner, especially if you're going to take an inside line on somebody, or you will miss the corner. I think that concept gets lost sometimes. I don't think it's always the forefront of a sim racer's mind. But it's true, Zach. When you get a good run off the corner previous like that, you're going to be faster into the next corner.
It tends to be that way sometimes. You have to find that sweet spot of being able to run around each other.
And so we'll reset and do it again. This time with 70 complete, Zach King will lead us back into the Geico, not Geico, but still restart zone. I thought I had killed that habit. Apparently we're back to it, but into the restart zone this time. Zach King in control. And we're going to go back racing. 70 complete. Oh, some stack ups further back, but a great battle here. 2nd through 5th on your screen. I'm hoping those guys in the back can keep it rolling. This is good stuff. Ramsey up the racetrack. Romano and McMeekin go through. White now goes up underneath Ramsey. And Casey Gross is starting to join the fight.
Sean Hughes got into the apron, and we got a cautions car around.
Doug Scalise, the number 16. So I suppose we can get a look back at all of it, including the hubbub with the 75 of Hughes a lap or two ago. This is down into turn 3. Got loose on a downshift. They all swerve to avoid. And then in all of this, there goes the 16, or here he comes up behind it. Now he goes by the 75 car to turn 1, or at least tries to. That puts him next to the 2 car down the backstretch. Oh, and Doug just misjudged turn 3. Well, to his credit, he saw what was happening, got on the binders, did not hit the car ahead, though he did throw himself into a bit of a slide there and bring out the caution. Well, Zach, that's one of the quicker reviews we've had so far this race.
That it has been.
Let's see if we can dial a driver up here under this caution. I have one in mind that I'm searching for, but I'm not seeing him in the league Discord, actually. I wanted to hit up Chris Romano, but I don't see him hanging around today. Let's see if we can go then for the driver just behind him. That's going to be Matthew McMeekin, to see if we can talk to driver number 4 quickly under this caution. And Matthew, this has been already kind of a stop-and-go race in some regard, but while you guys have had a few laps to get running, how's the track feel?
Track and the car are working just fine. Just trying to make sure I establish my rhythm, keep my rhythm, and just keep driving.
And we've seen so far, I think the biggest trouble for all of you guys has been getting down into the corner, managing the brakes and the downshift. What's that like as a driver trying to manage all of that at once?
Yeah, it's a lot. If you're not precise, you're going to screw it up. And so the job is not to overdrive it.
And of course, NASCAR going to a rules package change for 2026 and beyond with this car. A little more power, a little less downforce. How's it feel?
Car's comfortable, believe it or not. I was surprised. So I like it.
Fair enough. Matthew McMeekin rolling in 3rd spot. Best of luck here.
Thank you, sir.
We'll get him back up to his teammates at Meatball Motorsports, and he'll get set to follow his team owner back into turns 1 and 2 this time on the restart. 77 complete this time by some cloud cover here in Virtual Ridgeway, cooling the track down a little bit as we get set to go back racing. Green flag once again at the paperclip, and the whole outside line was sleeping. McMeekin on through to 2nd, Ramsey through to 3rd, Romano now in 4th, White in 5th. Oh man. Ramsey on the back bumper of the 4 car to turn 1 that time. It was close.
Look at this, send down to the corner. Ramsey looking topside. Can't quite get it done. Side by side behind him, though, Jordan White stuck on the outside of Romano. He gets clear as the caution comes out once again. Spinner, it's Mark Bender.
Former leader of this race at one point in time. Turned around towards the back of the field. Let's go back a little bit and see what happened. This is a little bit earlier in the restart cycle. Sean Hughes and Chad Fox directly ahead. Douglas Scalise behind and off the corner. Oh man. So we've seen a whole bunch of troubles into the corner. Now we're starting to see them off the corner, Zach.
Snapping around. Hey, you did a good job locking it down, I'll say.
As we pace around under this caution, can remind you that, well, this series is brought to you by some fantastic partners. Today, Boosted Safe is on board. Today's presenting partner is the world's first car safe that securely latches directly into the back seat of every vehicle, large enough for your laptop or gaming devices so you can feel secure even when on the go. And I would imagine, Zach, as a father with a car seat in the car, I would imagine it probably latches into the car seat latches in the back seat of your motor vehicle, I would think. So if you do go for Boosted Safe's product, I would think it likely is latching into that. Check it out at boostedsafe.com and use code iRacing20, all caps iRacing20, for 20% off at checkout. And of course, founded by Patrick Bowler, Bully Dog Coffee Company has nearly 2 decades of experience in the coffee industry and turns the process of making coffee back into a ritual, better supporting your caffeine needs and local dog shelters in Central Arizona in the process. Order your first pound of Bully Dog Coffee Company coffee for as little as $15 with promo code FAST10 at checkout today. Again, promo code FAST10 at checkout, and you can get your first pound for as little as $15 depending on the roast you go for with that code. I know some roasts will be a little more expensive. I always say as low as 15 potentially, depending on which one you're going for. Some great partners here with the series. Glad to have them on board here for 2026. And a quick look at our partners here with the channel. Of course, Whiplash SimCams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. Down into turns 3 and 4. Going to see a teammate restart, I think, on this front row. King and McMeekin are teammates. Ramsey and White are known to work together. Let's see how this one goes. Restart zone for King. They check up. Green flag. One complete off the restart. McMeekin right there just ahead of the 83 and 97. Again, those two working together as of last week. Uh-oh, that's not going to work. Wow, what a catch.
Somehow they kept it rolling.
And White gets through to second.
Behind.
Wow, that is not what I expected there. Casey Gross gave the 97 a shot. He falls back now into 7th spot, does Gross. Ramsey, though, takes over 3rd. McMeekin 4th. Romano back to the top 5. Etchapar is up here. Combs into the top 10. He's 8th. Bullock in 9th and Hissong 10th. But the battle I'm wanting to see. You and I know, Zach, that these two have a bit of a rivalry. We'll see if that's kept in check here today as we still have over 100 to go. But King and White, about a second and a half apart right now. The same tire strategy, 2-lap difference under a caution. That's not much. And Jordan White had to go to the rear of the field. Well, caution. Wanted to say he went to the rear of the field for the start after qualifying on pole, but Adam Ramsey in trouble off of turn 4. Casey Gross involved, McMeekin as well. This is big. Etchapar around.
A lot of damage on a lot of these race cars.
A bunch of guys we were just looking at in the top 5. Ramsey going to have a problem right behind Jordan White. So check this out for the 97 car that was looking oh so good earlier today. Loose off of turn 4, loops it, locks it down, and then rolls down into McMeekin. He then comes up into Etchapar, and it's on from there. You see, it was pretty much done there towards the back of the crash. But let's see what happened down further down the straightaway for the 4 car. Comes up, catches McMeekin, or catches Etchapar rather. McMeekin then comes down and gets Gross. That is a big, big problem for some really good race cars.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around this a little bit because Ramsey did a good job of locking it, and then he rolled after McMeekin was committed. I can't decide if rolling off the racing line or just holding his ground would have been the better option right there.
It's hard to say. I think he had good intentions of trying to get off of the racing line when he lifted off the brakes, But you're onto something there, Zach. It's better just lock it down and try to stay, at least if you hold your foot on the brake, you know that you did all you could to stay in one spot. If the car has momentum, you know, inertia is a thing, obviously. If it moves around a little bit, that's part of it. But at least you know if you lock the brakes down, you're doing all that you can to control the car at that point in time. So I think that's the best way to go. But you're spot on that that's part of the problem here. He lifts off the brake very briefly, starts to roll forward. Watch it here. Locks, lifts off, rolls forward, and that's what catches the 4 car. And then I don't think McMeekin even knew the 88 was coming on the top side. He was probably still reeling from the fact that he just got hit. And it just got a whole lot worse. These guys could have reset. A look again at the MXWraps.com weather conditions. The temperatures really have not shifted much. Sitting mostly cloudy here in the sky. Well, we've seen a cloud or two pass over the speedway. The wind's pretty high though, Zach. 15 miles per hour out of the north. 16 now. Not a huge issue for these guys with the speeds they're traveling, but I can tell you on top of the tower, I've worked that. I've operated a camera on top of the tower at Martinsville when it's been windy, and well, it can be a little crazy up there, a little bit hectic for sure. But here we go, restart zone now for King and for White, and we are racing again at the paperclip. Oh, there goes Hellcell.
Turn 3.
Hughes in it as well. And they're still crashing. Casey Gross for a slide. And Michael Rovillo around. Let's see this for the 45 car into turn number 3. He just gets into Bullock, then gets loose. Ramsey nowhere to go. And Hughes ends up punching the nose there of the 45 car as well.
Shouldn't be a lot of damage on the front end of that 75 car, though. Or at least I wouldn't think there'd be a lot of damage. That didn't seem like a huge hit.
Let's see this again. So he's deep into the corner, gets into Bullock, slams on the brakes for a second, and then when he checks up, Ramsey doesn't really have anywhere to go and all of that, and that's what causes this. But then there's a whole kind of chain reaction of guys trying to miss it. So Casey Gross comes in here in a second. And Rovillo, I mean, just cleaned him out. Top lane to middle to bottom.
Ooh.
And still found the left rear of the 77 car. That was just a wonky corner entry from the get-go. Thankfully, there was very little actually heavy contact and very little damage accumulated in that. It was pretty light by the time the 2-car got there, at least. He did a good job of slowing it down at the very least, but we continue on here. Another caution for these drivers. Some more opportunity to keep these tires in check. And looking around the league Discord at who has connected today, I was hoping maybe to talk to the driver of the 15. But I'm not seeing him in any of these group chats. I'm looking, though. I promise. We're trying to find some compelling drivers to talk to. Combs is up to the 4th spot for this restart, so it would have been fun to talk to him here, as he had all of those struggles earlier in the day, Zach. I mean, we were called. He was down south of 10th, even 15th position. So he's doing a good job getting back into this now, as he started deep in 22nd, so we'll see what this Dash for Cash driver can do as we get set to go back racing. Jordan White on the front row now alongside Zach King. Restart zone on the way. Let's watch this one from the fan cams one more time. Coming up on halfway. 102 to go at Martinsville. The Jamaican sensation sent it into turn 3, Zach, but that was never going to work out.
I think he was trying to stick it on the outside of King and see if maybe he could power off the corner, get the run, and keep it to himself, but it looks like it's not going to work, and that's going to promote Zach King to a 0.6 of a second lead.
Oh, some checkups back here. Scales will slow off the corner. Everybody trying to avoid it. They do so for now. It got hairy back here, though, for a second. Ramsey trying to come back through the field. He's on Bullock's back bumper now through 1 and 2. But yeah, back to the 83 of Jordan White. It's like he tried to go to the outside of King in turn 3. Tried to stick something around the outside. It did not stick, as we've got a caution again. This time, I believe, for the 20 of Young. And yes, this will be for car 20. He was racing with Christopher Foote ahead. One of the top 10 drivers on the power rankings coming into today. Off of turn 2, Young just got free. Boom, inside wall, and I'm surprised that was a caution, Zach.
Pretty surprised myself, actually. He kept it straight, kept it rolling. Are we sure it wasn't for something else?
I didn't see anybody else slow at the time to indicate any other reason for the caution. Let's check in with last week's winner, Sean Hughes in the 75. He's had some trouble today, but is still rolling, just like most of the field. He's actually back here in the 11th spot currently. Let's dial him up. Sean Hughes got the win at Darlington last week. New paint scheme here at Martinsville today. Does not seem to be going quite the same way as a week ago, though. What's going on?
Nope, this is my first time at Martinsville, and yeah, it's not going the best.
This is a challenging racetrack, whether it's on the brakes, on the gas, it doesn't matter. It's tough to get around here for one lap, let alone 200. What have you learned so far these opening 103?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be smart on my brakes, ease into them, try not to lock them up, and just try to watch where everybody else is so they don't hit you either.
How's the voice chat out there so far? Anybody angry yet?
Not quite, you know, they're staying pretty calm for the most part, but it's bound to get more heated.
I think so, Sean. Good to talk to you. Congratulations again for last week. Hopefully we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
We'll get him back up there with Chris Foote as we get set to go racing in another lap's time here. Well, Zach, looking forward to the rest of the schedule, and here it is. Great races on the way, obviously. We have the Dash for Cash last week, this week, next week, and then again at Texas. Watkins Glen is coming up soon. We'll be there. I know we would be looking forward to Wilkesboro. We will not be live for that one, unfortunately, here at the channel. But I believe we're set to have Charlotte still. So, I mean, some classic racetracks that we typically look forward to on the way.
I will say, I haven't seen this racetrack or been to this racetrack in a while. I'm looking forward to Loudon. New Hampshire's always been an interesting track. I'm looking to see how they run there.
I agree. New Hampshire's always for some fun. There we go. Restart on the way. King with a big launch. A whole shot, if you will, as they'll battle for second. Cameron Combs to the inside of Jordan White into turn 3. He backs out now. They get single file off of turn 4. I love these overhead shots of Martinsville. You can see just about the entire set of corners there in one camera shot.
Fight for the lead is starting to heat up. Andrew Jordan White slipped up through the center of the corner and gave a good advantage to Zach King right there. Combs waiting in the wind, seeing if he can try to find a way forward. But it's been the Zach King show out in front majority of the race today so far, Andrew. I'm eager to see if he's already got laps led locked up. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
He's certainly going to be close. As these guys race off of turn 2 here. Let's see, laps led on the ticker. 96 so far for Zach King. 4 more, and he's got 100. And at this point, that would lock up. I think it already has, actually, considering Bender's got 12. And nobody can lead 96 laps now. So, yeah, the lion's share of these laps will certainly go to the 51 car. He's got the most led today already locked down.
It's been the Zach King show out in front. And Jordan White, who started on pole, technically has worked his way up from all the way in the back from the 24th position straight up to the second spot. So he is looking to put himself back up to where he technically started. See if he can find a way to get that car in the clean air. Zach King has been doing a great job of holding on to it. He's still got to contend for about another 89 laps.
We'll lock up there out of King into turn 1. You can see lap car is already in the distance for these guys. And right there, 100 laps led for Zach King in car 51 today. Now exactly half the race and counting. As we continue on, lap 113 of 200 underway and about to wrap up. Some battles further back. Austin Adams back here with Doug Scalise and Casey Gross. Gross ahead, Scalise behind, and then Mark Helsel even behind them. He's a lap down though. One car really slow. That's Fainer in the pit lane. It has been a rough season for car 23 already, and today is no different.
Too far back in the box right there, but he pulls forward, brings it to a stop, and lap traffic getting in the way of our leaders. Ravello up to the top. Pulls out of the way of Jordan White, but the lead has definitely separated just a tad. King back out to another advantage of about 0.7 of a second.
Oh my gosh, look at how off kilter the right front of that 2 car is. Regardless, they'll battle for second now. Combs to the inside of White. These guys are on equal tire conditions, I would think. So these guys, I'm surprised, but the 15 spinning the back, his song around. Uh-oh.
One of your Dash for Cash contenders right there.
And easily one of the favorites to get his first win of the season next. He's been great this season. Up front contending on the speedways today, though, kind of MIA since about lap 50. Gets tagged there by the 97 of Ramsey, around into the wall, and lets it back into the fence there as well on the inside. This is an interesting time for a caution. Yeah, we're seeing pit stops now. This is exactly what I thought we might see. We're a little ways past 100, not quite to 150 like we were thinking earlier, Zach, but this isn't a bad time to maybe bolt on your final set for the day. I think maybe it's slightly too early for it to be your final set right now, ideally anyways. I think you want to get one more probably in 40 or 50 laps. But you're close enough to the end now where if this is your final tire change, it's not going to kill you, I don't think.
I don't think it will. I would have stayed out a little bit longer, though.
And
until like lap 125.
Cameron Combs has done exactly that. He stays out under this yellow along with Kevin Bullock. And I think that's a good move. Try to save your tires a little bit longer. I think today has shown we have more cautions on the way. At least try to keep this set on a little bit longer. But at the same time, if you are Jordan White, you see the 51 come in, I think maybe there's some, I think, credit to covering that strategy up and trying to make sure you're on the same set of tires as that 51 car. It's been mostly them out front, but this 15 could be sneaky good. I mean, he got back up ahead of the 83 there in that run. So Combs could be fun to watch as this race goes on. I wouldn't even rule out Bullock or Hughes as we get closer to the end of this one today. One more look here at what's upcoming for us at the channel. How excited are we for Phoenix tomorrow?
I'm excited. I like Legacy Phoenix. I kind of miss the layout, to be perfectly honest, Andrew. Phoenix reprofiled their racetrack in 2012. And now it's a bit more of an open-style dogleg, but I miss the grass. I miss the flat dogleg that was always so fun at that racetrack.
That was repaved and reprofiled in 12, and then I think again in, what was it, 18 when they flipped the start-finish line over to The other side of the racetrack, they built up the stadium side and what used to be turns 1 and 2, now 3 and 4. So that has changed the racetrack up significantly there at Phoenix Raceway. But we're at the legacy version of Phoenix International Raceway tomorrow. Meanwhile, 79 to go at Martinsville Speedway for the All-American Racing Network Boosted Safe 200 back underway. Some 3 wide, deeper in the pack. Jordan White mired in this traffic. This is the other problem with pitting when these guys did. A lot of traffic now for King, for White, and others.
Combs gets out to a big lead over a second over Bullock, and then it's Hughes, Bender, and Foot, your top 5.
On board with Sean Hughes as he looks up at Kevin Bullock right now for second place. Some great fights, though, deeper in the field. Austin Adams and Jordan White. White up to 8th now, right behind King. Ramsey's stuck here in traffic. And then Robert Hissong trying to come around some cars as well. He's on 72 lap old tires, Zach. Oh! Justin Young loses the car under braking. There it is.
You were about to say no caution and had to stop yourself short.
Well, we pretty much saw that one live, but we'll get a look back at it anyways. This is down into turns 1 and 2. Young underneath his song and just going too early on the downshift. Zach, you've seen that a few times already this morning. Is it better, as driver coach self, is it better to downshift earlier or later in the corner here at Martinsville?
I would have to say later. Later would be the most beneficial move. If you downshift too early, you'll see what happens. Well, you have seen what happens already as the race goes on. We saw drivers early on in the race downshifting too early and chattering the rear tires and wheel hopping and sliding and stepping out in the corner. The engine braking certainly helps you get that car woed up, and then as you're rotating through the corner, you can downshift into 3rd gear and get that car the power it needs to drive it up off the corner. So in doing so, it may burn up your tires a little bit more. That's where you have to just be very conservative. Again, that's why I say let that engine braking help you into the corner. Roll 4th gear on entry, downshift through the center, drive it right up off.
It does seem like these guys are shifting a little bit too early. Downshifting to help them make the corner. And, I mean, that's a road course technique, I feel like, Zach, to use the engine to slow you down into the corner. I don't think you want to do that. In this car here, I don't think you want to shift before the concrete. I think you want to delay that downshift until deeper in the corner and use it to rotate the car more than to slow the car. I think that's the big distinction for these guys, because we're seeing every time they downshift early, Zach, they chatter the rears, get the car sideways, they spin. If you do it later in the corner, help the car turn with the downshift, you can get that better launch and actually use the fact that you're downshifting to 3rd gear. So I also wonder, for guys that are having the trouble downshifting, run 50 laps in 4th gear. Just get the track down first and then figure out when to spice up your lap by throwing it down into 3rd and getting that run up off the corner. But again, I think use it closer to the center of the corner, rotate the car with it, don't slow the car with it. That's my take. That said, about 70 to go here, 71. When we get the green, Cameron Combs back in control. Could be a contender for the win. Let's see in 71 more laps. Racing again at Martinsville Speedway. Zach King already up to 4th spot. He gets up underneath Mark Bender. Jordan White back in 7th. Those are your top 2 on newer tires. Next up behind them be Adam Ramsey in 9th. And behind him would be Chris Romano. Back here in the now 10th position. As the 16 of Scaleless is going backwards. His song also, no, his song's got old tires. 80 lap old tires now across the line for the 29 car. Mono to the inside, looking there on Austin Adams, no dice. Meanwhile, battle for what is the 6th position. Christopher Foote loses that spot to Jordan White. Adam Ramsey now pulls up. And Zach King starting to put pressure now on 3rd place. Got those spots early with these tires, Zach, but he had to work for even those. Now he's really having to work for these spots. To the inside he goes of Hughes. Pokes his nose down there, no dice, hits him. Oh, he's wrecking him. Well. And Sean Hughes around on turn number 2. Last week's winner at Darlington. We saw it happen live from the perspective of Zach King. Watch out! Oh my gosh.
Woo! Corey Powell.
And he'll get digging there. He might be able to keep the lead lap, but I'm not so sure. He's going to go. He's going to get back ahead of these guys, it looks like. Maybe not. And more leaders actually coming in. Bender is coming in. Looks like Bullock as well.
Oh, he's not happy with King.
Yeah, okay, so we just saw that right as we went to the replay. So let's watch the replay, and then watch after the replay. Watch this. We saw it on board with King when it happened, just gassed up and hit the 75, and then hit him again there as he was going by. And now we saw everything from here. Let's speed this up. Oh, hang on. Let me find the right spot here. So we saw the 75 letting the 15 go. And then watch this off the corner, Zach. Pulls up alongside King and gives him a piece of his mind.
I wonder if there's anything after this, though.
Let's see. I want to pull the 51's footage.
Race Control has given the 51 a warning for retaliation.
Really?
Yeah, they gave him a warning.
Well, let's watch this here to turn 1. Is there anything else? I think they just confused the numbers. I don't see anything here from King. I think that's a confusion of numbers by Race Control because Zach is staying far back of Sean now. And frankly, what would he have as a reason to go back after the 75? He turned him.
Hold on. Did I say the 51 got a warning?
Yes.
I meant the 75.
Well, there you go. So, a confusion on car numbers by our broadcaster. That's okay. As we'll have the 15 and 51, how much more confusing can that get? 1551 on the front row. Cameron Combs going to bring us back around just over 60 to go. We're starting to wrap this one up. It's been a bit of a slugfest with cautions, but we're starting to get into the latter stages. Combs inside, King outside. White and Foote, row 2. Green flag back in the air. Racing again at Martinsville. A big restart for Jordan White. King way up in turns 3 and 4. White went up 2, but around to the back, Mark Helsell. Not the first time we've seen him in trouble today.
Yeah, but definitely the first time we've seen him with a lot more damage on that front end. His song gets in there and gets pinched.
He's already got a lot of that front end damage. Just kind of skids to a stop there after getting tagged by the 29 into the corner. It was not much contact, but you don't need much in these cars on the iRacing.com sim. Well, there was more than it really looked like from afar, but let's see if we can dial another driver up during this caution. As Cameron Combs actually is pitting. He's going to bring King back to the pits as well. This is an early stop from King.
I wonder if he's just fixing damage.
Let's find out. This is a little bit strange. I wouldn't think you would even care about the damage at this point. I mean, yeah, there is some, but it's Martinsville after all. This seems a little bit odd for Zach King to come in. Does he take any tires here? No.
Yeah, just fixing damage, like I said.
But this is going to bury him so deep in track position. I don't think this is worth it.
It's a risk. It's a big risk, most definitely. I don't know if I really agree with it either. You can see the damage getting knocked out of that.
Jordan White now leading. They've just gone by the stripe. There they are in the background. So King, sure, he got a bit of repairs done. 33 seconds, but unless that was impacting steering, I don't think that was worth it. And maybe it was impacting the steering, Zach, but you know, we can't tell that obviously. At least without taking his onboard, I guess, but it looks okay now at the very least. Hard to say what it was like before. Regardless, if it wasn't impacting steering, I don't think that was worth it. If it was, maybe so, but I believe we're about to get the 1 to green signal and go back racing. I'll tell you, we've seen some crazy things today. I don't think we're going to see anything quite as crazy as what I saw at Cherokee Speedway the last couple of nights. I know a few of the drivers here in the Discord have been at Darlington this weekend. I know Coulter Clark is there today, but I was at Cherokee Friday and Saturday, Zach. On Friday, we had a car burst into flames. Might have seen it on social media. The car burst into flames off a turn 4 coming to the checkered. He had a big lead. He lost that lead in the final 25 feet or so, lost the race in a 3-car race. That was in the Young Gung front-wheel drives at Cherokee. And then yesterday, we had to light the track on fire to burn off some fuel in turns 1 and 2. So just a crazy day of dirt racing in South Carolina the last couple of days. But here in virtual Virginia, we have 56 to go. Green flag for Jordan White. By the way, the driver of the front-wheel drive car that lit on fire was okay. These drivers in the back might not be mentally okay right now. Caution is out. Cameron Combs, Christopher Foote, a handful of drivers that just pitted involved here.
It's not good. Saw his son going around in the corner.
This is going to be severe mental anguish by the time these guys are done. So Justin Young, oh my goodness, he was way down the racetrack and his song way down into the pit lane, comes back across, and wow, I have not seen a car take reverse entry into the pit lane of Martinsville in a while.
For a moment there, I thought he was going to go all the way through the pit lane.
That's impressive.
Ah, yeah. He hit the inside wall. That's what bounced him back up onto the racetrack. Saw Combs go around right there. The 21 gets slowed up and stopped after a little bit of contact as well. So there's Bullock. There's Young.
I'm
Oh,
not
just comes
sure
down the
where
racetrack.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the 20 was going and all of that. Trying to get a decent look from above, maybe. Just comes off the corner, and right here he turns a little bit further left as his song is just trying to find the racing line, and then his song comes back across. Foote nowhere to go. Oh boy, this is going to affect those power rankings pretty heavily, Zach. If we get back to live picture and bring those up here quickly. Coulter Clark, of course, not being here today. He shouldn't lose too much, maybe a few points. This is scored basically on the basis of 100 is perfect, and your score is going to fluctuate with your results as you get more and more results logged in the bank. So ideally you're going for 100. We rarely ever have that. I think the best drivers typically are around 70 to 80, sometimes even down in the 50s, depending on how much parity there is in the field. But for Clark and Combs to already be higher up, that says something about them. Even Hughes, White, and his song, the next three, and even Zach King has been strong lately. But this is going to take some big hits. I mean, guys like Foote, Romano, Ramsey. I don't see Krieger here today, so Krieger's going to take a hit. I think this will be very, very different headed to Bristol next week, but iRacing.com safety car heads back to the relative safety of pit lane. I say relative especially because we just saw the 29 reverse entry drifting down there, but here we go. 51 to go for Jourdain White. Martinsville Speedway is back green. Oh, battle for third. Look at that. Casey Gross, Chris Romano, Bullock around. And a caution is out.
That's not good.
Bullock here in the 0-1. Mark Bender behind him and just got in a little bit deep. Oh. That's not going to be good for the 15 of Combs. And the onboard here for Kevin Bullock. And here's the onboard for Cameron Combs. This is so close to being a Murderous Mega Miss contender, Zach, and unfortunately, it's a rather large hit.
Unfortunately so. Oh, man.
Oh, and he's done. Look at that, the right front junk. That is big. That's a Dash for Cash driver. Second in power rankings. High up in the standings. This is big for Cameron Combs.
I'll have to wait and see if he decides to pull that car back out on the racetrack.
He's out. He already disconnected from the session. It looks like he's done.
He did.
He's out of here.
I thought he'd just try to at least get some points out there. That is huge.
So the 15 headed to the hauler. So as for the Dash for Cash, it's down to just the 83 and 29. And frankly, I think Jourdain White is in the better spot, but we still have just about 50 to go. Let's quickly dial up the 0-1. I think we're about to go green about a lap, but let's see if we can get a quick word with Kevin Bullock, who got hit there on that caution. Kevin, what did you see from your perspective? Obviously, we got the TV replay, but what did you see?
I'm really not even 100% sure what happened. I don't know. I don't know if it was me or somebody. I don't know.
Well, hate to see you
All
out
I know
this
is I'm
early.
done.
Hate to see you out this early. How do you feel about Bristol next week?
Oh, I feel good about that track. Try to stay up front, stay out of this mess.
All right, we'll see you there, man. Best of luck.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
We got Kevin Bullock back up there with his teammates as the iRacing.com safety car is back to the relative safety of pit lane. Let's try this again, Zach. Inside now, 50 to go at Martinsville Speedway. It's becoming an attrition kind of day. Green flag back in the air for White, for Ramsey, and for Gross. Oh my goodness! What just happened in turns 1 and 2?
Couldn't even tell you.
I think that was Romano that got cleaned out, but it was Hell Cell doing the cleaning. Some janitorial work down in turn 1. They stack up on the outside. Hell Cell comes in. Downshift and just straight through the 44.
My goodness.
And that seems to have been an incident disqualification maybe for the 45 car.
Checking
Stack
now.
up. And watch this into the corner.
Hellcell is disqualified.
And goodbye. Wow. From the whole way into turn 1, the 45 is going na 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 na. Hey, goodbye.
Lord have mercy.
It's been one of those kinds of days. We can check the CC's Business race stats, and yeah, 18 cautions, 70 laps. It was not feeling this way for a while, Zach. I'll give these guys credit in the first half. They had us in the first half, not going to lie, but It was going along smoothly. We had some cautions here and there, but it's really starting to stack up.
The cautions and the lack of sleep must be getting to you because now you're quoting memes, outdated memes.
Oh, come on, man. It's my job as a dad to be outdated, but to still quote them and make it painful to sit through. That's my job. But hey, Coulter Clark chiming in from Darlington, South Carolina, cheering on his teammate Jordan White, who's leading here this morning still. And hey, Kayla chiming in as well, telling me to stick to anything but what I just did. Particularly, yeah. Well, that's what it is. We'll have 41 to go on the restart. Maybe I'll just shut my mic off and let it be the rest of the broadcast. I don't know, but good to see Coulter here today. Of course, the driver that's leading the power rankings coming into this morning's race, but things will be different, I think, into Bristol next week when he gets back on track with these guys. Meanwhile, Jordan White going to lead us back to the green flag. 41 to go. Let's try it all again. Restart zone for the 83 of White. Green flag as everybody's trying to find their bearings. Just like King and Ramsey some 140 laps ago, these two, which does still include Ramsey, starting to get away from the field. This time, though, it's Jordan White leading. He's loose off the corner, though. That was almost a wholesale choke moment. Oh, Ramsey took a swipe.
Locks up.
And now Jordan White, I think, can breathe easy. He's got some room behind him. Just hit your marks. Get away from these guys as Casey Gross now takes a look at the 97 of Adam Ramsey. You can tell these guys do have more power, though, on the car versus older updates with this car, Zach. They are having some issues off the corner, and I think we saw a good example of it in the 77 that time, up off of turn 2. He got a little free, and it was just horsepower getting free. It wasn't the car being wonky with the independent rear suspension. It was just the fact that he had power.
What can you do?
Well, you can hit the gas and get out of the corner, I guess, as Austin Adams, Justin Young. This is the fight for 8th place. And Zach King starting to work back through the field. He's in 6th, right behind Doug Scalus. Battles all over the racetrack. Here's a gaggle. Chad Fox, Christopher Foote, Robert Hissong. And battle for the lead. Jordan White loses it in turns 1 and 2. Ramsey gonna take over. Could this be the day that Adam Ramsey grabs himself a very first win in the All-American Racing Network Next Gen Cup Series?
Still got 45 laps to make it happen.
So again, Ramsey and White, these two working together lately as there's a caution on the speedway. This seems to involve Michael Rovilla once again. And it does. Watch! Oh my gosh!
And there goes your leader.
Wow. Wow. I don't even know what to say, Zach.
I do, but I won't.
Here's Ravello into turn 1. Once again, on his own. Lost into the corner. Fainer comes in from somewhere, not sure where, and then Ravello backs up right here as the leaders are trying to go by on the inside, and you can't. So here's the spin for the 2 car.
Oof.
And then watch as the leaders approach. This is slow-mo, half speed. They're going to appear on the right side of the screen. They're approaching and going low. And Ravello backs down into the racing line as they approach still at near race speed. That is going to have to be addressed. I think If it was somebody laps down towards the back of the field, that might be one thing, but when that's your race leader, that's something these guys will need to talk about.
I think holding it up there would have just been perfectly fine.
Yep.
Leaders can run bottom.
If anything,
And then-
there's no need for reverse gear right there, Zach. Let's see it here. This is kind of late again because of how late this all happens. Hit the gas. First gear, spin it around on top of the racetrack. I mean, you don't need reverse gear in this case. And Adam Ramsey's race going to be severely hindered. I don't think it's over necessarily, but certainly competitively for the win. He's not going to win the race now. Ramsey did back it down there. Sees the car high, so he goes low. And then across the racetrack he
He
goes.
doesn't even have time to hop out of the gas.
So, we're going to reset and go back racing this time. 30 to go when we get the green flag. A handful of guys pit, including Jordan White, Robert Hissong, and Adam Ramsey. Casey Gross going to have the race lead, though, on 50-lap-old tires. He might try to hold this down with track position. Let's see how this goes. Green flag on the way. 30 laps to go. And suddenly, Zach King is back in the top 3, make that top 2, and chasing down Casey Gross. This could be everything King needed to get back to the front and potentially get this win.
He's got just under 30 laps. They're about to be 3 wide, well deep in the field.
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on back
right
here.
there.
A lot going on around the 10th position here. Ramsey in 10th. He's getting away okay. He's actually got Jordan White still behind him. Jordan in 11th right now. I just think it was too late to come in and get those tires, Zach. I think you do not want to be coming in at 30 to go and getting tires. Ramsey at the racetrack now. He's got some trouble.
Well, you've made your bet at this point. You have to lie in it, and that goes for the guys that stayed out and the guys that pitted. If you decide to pit, should the next caution come out in a couple of laps, you're going to be back there behind the guys that just pitted a few laps ago, and a few laps difference on tires isn't going to make a difference when you're fighting through traffic. So what these guys up front need now is they need this run to go long. They need Jordan White to keep getting caught up in these battles and mired back further and further. I mean, he is 5 seconds off the race lead.
To a point, a caution would help, but right now he needs the green laps to get by these next couple of guys, including the 27 ahead of him. That's Austin Adams. We're also watching the leaders. So White gets into some clean racetrack. Now he could use a caution to bunch the field back up.
Oh, maybe not. They're side by side once again, going down to 3. Jordan White just cooked it real hard into 1, but he gets clear.
Here we go for the race lead. King to the inside of Gross. This is the fight I wanted to get back up to. Gross going to lose the spot out of 2. And Zach King going to have the race lead with 177 complete this time by. Lap traffic ahead. And this is your battle for the win. Gross on much older tires. King on 21 lap old tires. It's 21 versus 58 laps. So easily the advantage goes to King. But the race is not over.
I thought King didn't take tires when he went into the box. I thought he was just fixing damage. I assumed he's still been on the same tires that he got around lap 120.
He's pit again since then.
Ah, okay.
Lapped car here. That is King's teammate, Corey Powell. So he will stay out of the way. And it's now a half-second advantage for Zach King down the front stretch here with now 21 laps to go. This race still far from over. Casey Gross in second. And Mark Bender in third. Doug Scalise in fourth. He's having some trouble today. Caution. Caution is out for Austin Adams.
Right around on the front straightaway there. Your leader's coming on around.
This is that
Adams
caution.
stays well out of the way.
This is that caution that White and Hissong and even Ramsey needed to bunch the field back together with their new tires to actually be able to use them again. Here's the battle into turn 3, though, with Adam Ramsey. Here comes McMeekin on the inside. Haven't seen much of him in the last 100 laps. it was a great start to the day for Matthew McMeekin in the 4, but as the day has gone on, he's 4 laps down now and just stuck. Can't do much when you're that far back with damage, just trying to stay in the race. So he's just trying to get around here at this point. It's part of the game you play. Let's see if we can dial up the 29 car here of Robert Hissong and see how he feels about his tires as we have just inside of 20 to go. Robert, we saw you bolt on those tires into the last caution. Try to put them to use there to that short green flag run. The caution, I think, is going to help you guys, though, to bunch the field back together. What say you?
Yeah, after the few incidents and we're here within less than 20 to go, I figured I was going to save my last set for 30, 25, 20 to go, somewhere in there. We went green, and I just followed the 83 up through. I let him make the hole, and I followed, filled it, and sitting here so far P8, hoping to at least get a top 10, top 5 out of it. You know, just trying to survive to get to next week and survive that one as well.
Admittedly, I'm pretty high on the 29 right now. I kind of like what you've been doing lately, running well. Today, though, it's kind of been a little bit all over. Is it just kind of one of those racetracks maybe where you aren't as strong, or letting these guys do their thing and playing the attrition game?
Attrition game. Honestly, it's league races here at Martinsville are always 50-50 shot of whether if, you know, an actual driver is going to lead the most laps or the pace car is going to lead the most laps.
It's been one of those days for sure. Bristol, of course, next up. You think you'll be better there?
Honestly, I'm better here at Martinsville, but I didn't get, I kind of overslept today and I didn't get into the practice session until like 20 minutes left of registration. So, yeah, I could have went with a different steering pinion and a little bit better master cylinder setup. I just didn't have the time to play with it.
Well, that's all right. Best of luck here towards the end.
Thank you.
We'll get him back up with his teammate, and we'll get this race restarted. 16 to go, Zach. And it's a big restart for Zach King and for Casey Gross. Casey Gross deep into turn 3, looking for daylight underneath the 51. Problems. Romano around off of the nose of Jordan White, but it seemed like there was a little more going on down to turn 3. Caution back out. And that was a quick start and stop for these drivers.
Caution was out before Jordan White. Yeah, there it is, spinning in the background. And White makes a move on the 44, sends him through the corner.
So kind of compound incident. Let's see what happened behind these guys then. I think it was around Kevin Bullock maybe. Off of turn 2. Yeah, Bullock had to check the steering. He actually got into Adams. He slid. That brought the yellow out. And then we saw the incident in turn 3 between White and Romano. I have to wonder if White is going to get a penalty or anything for that. I don't know. Frankly, there's a block there out of Romano. And I don't know that he deserved to get spun by any means, but I think anytime you block, especially on a short track, Zach, you are asking to get hit in the bumper.
That you are.
So there's the block there from Romano, a bit of a shove from White. And really, I think White would have, or I think Romano would have been okay if not for the curb down there. I think that's the only reason he lost the control of the car. It was not a big hit. The move, the block, the nudge, and yeah, it was the curb that ultimately spun the 44. Zach, though, I see in timing and scoring, the 83 is towards the back. Is that a penalty?
Potentially, I'm not seeing any penalties at the moment. Oh, well, look at that. Jordan White was handed an EOL penalty.
That's interesting.
I've been seeing EOL penalties throughout the course of the race.
Right, I can't recall one, and that wasn't even for the caution. Well, we'll get reset. 11 to go. Zach King on the front row. It has seemed like his race. It's just been a journey to get here. Casey Gross in the front row with him. Mark Bender, Douglas Scalise, row 2. And here we go. Back to the restart zone from overhead this time. 11 laps remaining, and there they fire. Green flag once again. 11 to go at the paperclip. Oh, Bender. Or was that Scalise? One of the coffee cars give the 77 a shot. And another one.
That was really sketchy going down in turn number 3. I thought Bender was going to give that second place car of Gross a shot. But we're still rolling. 10 laps to go, Andrew. We've gotten away from it a little bit, but shouldn't it be time for NRL Driver of the Day?
Yeah, I've been trying to think of who I'm even going to nominate, and I guess I kind of got lost in the sauce there. I suppose you got the floor, Zach. Who you got?
I'll take Zach King, and honestly, I'll take his song. Got into a couple of incidents, and that 29 car is still working his way up through the field. He's up into the top 5, and then King has just been on rails all day. 120 laps led. It's been a dominating performance out of the 51. I didn't really want to take Zach King, considering he is actually technically a Emergency Sports Development driver, but he's done a great job. You can't really disregard that. And then his song's been able to recover very quickly, very fast throughout the course of the day.
I'm definitely going to take the 77 of Casey Gross, running P2 right now, a few laps led. Easy nomination for me. And if I look at positions gained over the course of this race, as we get set to end this thing, 16 for Scalise. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab the 4th place drivers. He locks up all the way to turn 3 there. I think I'm going to give a nod here to Douglas Scalise. A whole bunch of spots gained over the course of this race. I would give it maybe to White if he was a few spots further north, but after the penalty he grabbed a few laps ago, he's just too far back for me, even though he's on that recovery drive. So those 4 drivers will make up today's North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote. That is now live over on YouTube. White is working here on Sean Hughes, battle for the 6th position. Hughes kind of gives it up. But as for the win, Zach, inside of 5 to go, I don't think there's any touch in the 51 car. Something big is going to happen.
Corey Powell pulls down and out of the way. And
Caution.
caution is out.
That gives these guys a chance. Michael Ravillo, once again here today. He's got some big left rear damage. I feel like he's had big damage for a while. And sure enough, this is all on his own. This seems like there's complications from all the damage he's got. So we will reset these guys here, Zach, and this is going to push a green-white checkered for one of the first times this season. So we can review our MXWraps.com overtime rules, Zach, and we've got 3 attempts. We'll have 2 laps at the restart, a green lap and a white lap, then checkers will end it. If that green lap is completed, so if the first of the 2 laps off the restart is completed, the restart is considered official. No matter what happens in the white flag lap, they race back to the checkers. If the green lap is not completed before a caution comes out, so if a caution comes out on that green lap, the first 2 times we'll reset and try it again. If it happens, if we get a caution the 3rd attempt on the green lap, it ends the race under caution.
Well, if you're Zach King, I would be thinking about just maximizing this restart, doing everything he can to keep himself in contention. He has been, once again, Andrew, on rails throughout the course of the day. I think with these drivers that are on new tires that haven't been able to work themselves up, and the old tires still being up in front, the odds are forever in the favor of any driver in the top 3.
As these guys get ready to go back racing here in just a moment, the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote is live over on YouTube, and already getting some votes in for Zach King and otherwise. All 4 drivers have a vote so far. That's always a good start. King leading right now. His song in contention. Gross and Scale is kind of lagging back in that battle, but the polls are open. Make your votes over on the YouTube side. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, I suggest you flip over at least a vote. If you're watching on a TV or something like that, I know you've got a smart device nearby, fire up the stream, search Pitstop TV here on YouTube or even ARN and whatnot for the video title, and get in, make your vote before this race wraps up. Restart zone coming up. Overtime restart for Zach King. How's this one going to go? Green flag back in the air. Overtime attempt number 1 underway. Battle down the backstretch is for second. If King gets back to the white flag, this race is official.
Oh,
Bender shoves the 77 up the racetrack, but Zach King takes the white flag. This race is official this time around. Bender gives second back to Gross. Battle for fourth. Jordan White finds his way through, but Zach King down to turn number 3 as they battle behind. Zachary King is going to exit Martinsville Speedway, a race winner at the paperclip.
Grandfather clock goes to the 51. What a job by Zach King to hang on to it. The side-by-side battles behind is exactly what he needed to see realistically to pull away. What a job.
All those laps led going to pay off here today. And that certainly is the way he wanted it. He's one of the more enthusiastic drivers in the field. I'll give him that. Always a lot of fun to talk to. He's had, as you used it earlier, as you used the phrase earlier, trials and tribulations as of late on iRacing. And I think this is going to feel good for him to leave this place with a win today. Especially given all the laps he led, this is going to feel good for him.
He's going to burn it down on the front stretch. Once again, an outstanding job for that 51 car. I think there was some good competition throughout the course of the day. You said it earlier, you thought him pitting to fix that damage was going to be a bit of a race killer right there, but he rebounded, he made it work, and it's going to take a little Polish victory lap made famous by Alan Kawicki around this Martinsville paperclip.
I'll admit, I wasn't so sure about the strategy earlier in the day, but he made it work for him. And Zach King will leave Martinsville Speedway as the race winner today. Throws it up into the wall there for a second, drifting. It's okay. You don't need the body today anyway.
Turning it down right there in turn number 1. You did say it. One of the more enthusiastic drivers, and he's certainly showing it now.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy in that 51 camp right now, and I know he's got some announcements to make soon with his team partnering up with Ideal Racing, I believe, and they've got some cool stuff on the way. But for now, Zach King victorious at Martinsville Speedway, showing what he's made of and bringing the fight with some guys that have been electric lately. I mean, Coulter Clark with a couple of wins. He's going to park it down there in the, I don't even know where that, I mean, I've been to Martinsville before. I'm not sure exactly what building that is. That is, I think, the Care Center. Well, regardless, he gets to park it today.
There are worse places to park it.
Yeah, that is not Victory Lane. They actually wheel out a trailer every time they do Victory Lane at Martinsville, but it's parked regardless, and we'll take a look back at your unofficial race results. I do want to take a look back, actually, at the last restart there, too. We can get back to it. Bear with me for a moment to get there. So this is, I think, coming to Checkers. And yes, that was coming to Checkers. Let's go back a little bit farther, and we'll see this last restart for these guys. This is into turns 3 and 4. Just kind of want to see what happened around these guys towards the checkered flag. Of course, Jordan White came through. Robert Hissong was battling there at the end. Scaleless lost a spot or two. Hughes was in the neighborhood. And I also want to see this send from Bender into turn 3 again. Watch this. Locked up a little bit. Boom. Moves the 77 out of the way. That's all right. They keep on racing. And then behind them, there's this fight all the way down the front stretch. White sends it deep on his song. This is white flag. Scaleless gets back to the 29 for a second. Bullies throw up the racetrack, some contact there. Fun times at Martinsville.
Well, I love Martinsville. I love just what it brings out in drivers and the beating and banging, the short track racing. It's one of the best things about this racetrack.
Let's take a look back at your unofficial race results today. Zach King, of course, with the win. 6/10 up on Casey Gross in those final 2 laps. Mark Benders, 3rd place. Decent, good effort for him. We'll be talking to him. I mean, this is, I think, one of the better finishes for Mark all season, maybe the best. So we'll be talking to Mark here in just a few moments. Jordan White ends up recovering to 4th position. Doug Scaleless at top 5. His song, Hughes, Romano, Foot, and Fox. How about Chad Fox? Chiming in for a top 10 today.
Rolling on down through the rest of the running order, you'll find cars that are getting in there a couple laps down, but still made it to the finish. Justin Young, after the amount of times that he spun today, rallies for an 11th place finish with Austin Adams right behind him in the 12th spot. Adam Ramsey is your first car, 1 lap down, and he's 2 down actually in that 97 car after leading the race before those last couple of string of cautions. Then Corey Powell ends up 2 laps down as well in the 14th spot. Matthew McMeekin, he was one of the drivers that we saw running pretty good early on. He ends up 4 laps down with Michael Ravillo, 13 laps down. Chris Fauner, 16 down with Kevin Bullock, 27 laps down. Jeffrey Johnson, 42 laps down, and then Mark Hessel ended up getting disqualified, and he ends up 49 laps down in the 20th place spot.
And back in 21st today, it'll be the 15 car Cameron Combs. Big hit to him for his points, and the Dash for Cash as well for Cameron. He was a lot of fun to watch. I think he left Darlington with the lead in the Dash for Cash, and that's certainly going to change after today at Martinsville. Etchapar, Allison, and Mopin, the back 3 there. Mopin not able to start today's race as it went to overtime. 203 laps, 132 of them were spent with the 51 car out front here today. Let's bring in race winner Zach King. It's been a while since BRB at Atlanta, and here we are in a short track. Zach, you got it done. 132 laps led. It always felt like it was your day today, but you had to fight for it.
Yeah, I had to fight for it there at the end, but yeah, this Deep on Motorsports, Gilbert Fleet's 51 Ford Mustang was bad fast, and weren't able to get the top of the charts in the final practice, but we were able to qualify 3rd. And then just basically just control the race with what I could control. Didn't want to put myself in a bad position. I had an incident with the 75, but I'll talk to him about it after the race and see what he has to say about it. But yeah, I just wanted to run a clean race, solid race, and show what I got.
And what can you recall of that incident with Sean Hughes? Of course, he's going to be somebody we won last week. You'll have to contend with him later on this season, certainly, if you want to win this championship. So as far as trying to keep those around you on the racetrack happy, what did you see there, and from your side, and what's your approach moving forward?
To be honest, I haven't taken a look at the replay because I forgot what lap it was, but I felt like I had more speed on him, and it might have been on my part to be smarter at how I passed him, but I feel like he chopped my nose coming out of turn 2, and it just sent him around, which I hate to do that. I don't want to do that to him. I love working with him. We were friends before the season even started, so don't want to have any issues with him. Obviously, this title fight's going to be really crazy with me and him now at the top of the standings again for another week in a row. But yeah, I feel like he just chopped my nose. I feel like I was a faster car. Maybe I should have been smarter about it. But yeah, just gotta talk to him about it. I think he chopped my nose, but that's all.
And Bristol next week, another crazy racetrack for these next-gen cars. Also got the new short track package. Have you tested it all yet? How do you feel about it?
Well, yeah, so like I said before, I think it was last week when I did an interview mid-race. When they pulled us, when I first had the update happen, I tested out Bristol, and I was like, wow, this is undrivable. But I was able to figure it out. But it's going to be really, really tough for a lot of guys next week. Yeah, it's just going to be about conserving your stuff and just being smart on the throttle. Like, you can't bang the throttle on exit anymore like you used to with the last year's car, I'd say. So it's just going to be about controlling the momentum and controlling the throttle and just being smart with where you put your car.
So Bristol and a whole bunch of other racetracks coming up. Some new updates to this next-gen car, and clearly Zach King has got a handle on it. Zach, congratulations. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Yeah, shout out to Gilbert's Fleets, K1 Speed, Blue Jay Creative Studio, K1 Speed, Horseshoes R Us, Murda's Esports, and the Murda's Esports Driver Developmental Program. They help us get here every week and put us in good positions to win.
And he was in position to win. It feels like just about the entire race. Zach King with a win today at Martinsville. And boy, what a day for him. And Zach, that means next up, position number 2, Casey Gross. Each of these two guys, second and third, this feels like a kind of feel-good finish for each of them, especially that 77 car.
Yeah, Casey did an absolute bang-up job to get back up there. Started 11th on the field, worked up 9 spots. Well, actually 10 spots, realistically. Casey, you did a great job to get up there into the second spot. How do you feel walking out of Martinsville with a second place finish?
Dude, stoked. Absolutely stoked. I started in the pits. Just because I had a feeling I didn't want to start in 11th, man. It was just too close to the middle of the field. Didn't want to take any chance of getting hit early. Didn't want to get any wrecks. Dude, I'm ecstatic right now. I thought I had it in the bag, but Zach showed me otherwise. Honestly, man, I'm just happy with the Chevy, bro. It had great speed all the way through basically the entire race. I had no issues with it. Car kept turning well, even after getting banged up a little bit. I mean, the car just ran well, period. I couldn't ask for a better setup from the crew. It was a great race all in all. We had a lot of caution and stuff, but I mean, that's just short track racing. You know what I mean? I'm ecstatic after a couple rough weeks. I'm ecstatic, man. I don't know another way to describe it.
Short track racing at its finest, I'll say. Beating and banging all the way to the checkered flag, and you put on a stellar performance, I'll say. You said it yourself. You had the lead there. You thought you had it locked up until Zach King moved on by you, but rolling into next week, there still are plenty of advantages with taking away your performance at Martinsville going into Bristol. How do you think you're going to be feeling rolling into the next short track?
I'm ready for it, man. I love Bristol. Bristol's a good time. Bristol's a track that I've always enjoyed racing. I like the high banks in the tight racing, and I'm just gonna try to ride this wave of fucking of good times and momentum, and try to just try to put together another clean race. Try to stay out of the drama, stay out of the getting hit. Like I said, it's been tough trying to keep my car clean through these races, and this week, luckily, we were able to put one together, even though we got banged up a little bit early.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your second place finish. Hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week going into Bristol. Actually, wait a second. No, yeah, good luck going into Bristol.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother. And thank you guys for streaming, and thanks, Doug, for putting on this on the league and everything, and all the guys who are working in behind the scenes, and thanks for everybody who shows up, make this thing work.
Absolutely, and a very ecstatic second place finisher out of Casey Gross, and I'm sure you're looking forward to talking to our third place finisher, Andrew Mark Bender.
Yes, sir. Mark Bender, I think for the first time this season, we're talking to driver 33, and the Bully Dog Coffee Company Ford Mustang Dark Horse was pretty good there by the end of the race. 12 laps led even there for you, Mark. What was it feeling like out there for you?
Oh, dude, I was shaking in my pants. I was just trying to lock in, get as many laps led, and try to get a victory. Didn't happen, but we got third place. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, big day, certainly for points and whatnot for the chase today. I mean, you just need these kinds of point finishes, right, to just get up there and keep yourself in contention.
100%. It's a good morale boost, And
of course, Martinsville, an attrition kind of racetrack. We saw that today for sure. Bristol next week, do you feel any better about it or hoping for about the same result? How do you feel?
We're going in clear-minded, hope for the best. Like I said, this is a good boost in morale. So the expectations just get higher. We got third. We're looking for first, baby.
Looking to go a couple more spots higher on the scoring pylon. Mark, thanks for your time. Congratulations on a third place, and hey, hopefully we're talking to you soon.
Thank you, boys.
The Bully Dog Coffee Company 33, third place today, and certainly we always appreciate enthusiasm and whatnot in these driver interviews. We apologize anytime a driver uses a bit of language, but hey, glad to wrap things up here from Martinsville Speedway. Zach, next up for these guys, of course, as we've talked all about today, Bristol coming right up, and it's going to be a challenging track. 250 there. Oh boy, that's going to be it's going to be a challenge if these guys don't mind their P's and Q's. If they have some talks with race control about maybe how to avoid some of these incidents next week, I think we can have a pretty good race. It was great there when we had the recruitment race there back in January, but we've added about 20 extra cars, and I think there's definitely more on the line now, and these guys are racing like it, which is fair. I mean, it's their right to fight for all these positions and these points, Zach, but today was a little bit caution heavy.
Very true. But at the end of the day, we still made it to the checkered flag, and I think that's still a great day at the end of the day. And it's saying a lot of day, but it was a good race. I think even with all the cautions, there were some good fights throughout the course of the field, and we had some great tussles and toss-ups, but hey, we're walking out of here with our heads held high, walking into Bristol. I'm sure it's going to be a good race going into there as well.
And of course, a lot of great racing coming up all across the channel. But to wrap things up here today, Zach, we of course have our North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote to cap off, and it's going to be a resounding success for Driver 51, Zach King. He will win today's Driver of the Day vote, brought to you by the North American Racing League, and that makes sense to me. All those laps out front essentially started from pole, since he qualified third and 83 had to go to the rear. So essentially started from pole position and returned there by the end of the day. A big time statement victory for Driver 51 today.
Most laps led, winner of the race, and Driver of the Day. Can't ask for anything more. No official points for Driver of the Day, but hey, it's a nice bragging right to have.
And anytime you have a guy win at a racetrack that we're going to later in the season, you got to think, well, he must be the favorite for when we go back here later on in the year, right? And that's going to be right towards the end of the season. Martinsville always checks in late. It's a formative race for the back end of the calendar. There you see, right before Miami. It's the next to last race. So that already spells well for Zach King. Of course, then Sean Hughes is considered the favorite for race 27 at Darlington. I would think Coulter Clark for Phoenix and Las Vegas. And when we go back to Dover in the summer, I would think Jordan White should be good there. So already we're starting to kind of get an idea of who's going to be good where as we go on through the year of 2026 here. But next up for us on the channel, of course, we've talked about throughout the course of the day. There you go. Phoenix International Raceway tomorrow evening for the NORRA Retro Cup Series 2003 NASCAR Cup cars on hand. I'm excited. I enjoy that older version of Phoenix. I enjoy that older version of the Cup car. I think there was a lot to look forward to in these upcoming NORRA races, along with the All-American Racing Network races. Each of these leagues, they're full-year leagues, right? Running 36 races. Each a little bit different, though. Different eras of cars, 3 eras apart even, and different schedules as a result, even though they're both kind of mirroring the same series just from different eras, Zach. And it's a lot of fun to see how they each kind of differ this year.
Absolutely. I like seeing the differences in how these cars run comparative to the years that they were built in. I'm eager to see the Monday racing happen tomorrow at Legacy Phoenix, and if you're eager to see it, there's definitely plenty of places to follow along. Pitstoptv.com, Facebook.com/pitstoptv, Instagram.com/pit_stop_TV, TikTok.com/pitstoptv1, Twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, YouTube.com/pitstoptv1, and X.com/pitstoptv_. There's a great race to watch today. There's great races coming up tomorrow, next week. Can't wait for it.
A whole lot coming up, as always, here at Pit Stop TV. Even some dirt racing on the way, so make sure to keep up with everything we have to offer and check back often for what's coming up on the channel. For today, Zach, that's about it. Any final thoughts here from Martinsville, especially these power rankings, man? I cannot get enough of them. I love checking in with these in every broadcast we do. I'm excited to see how different this graphic is next week.
I'm sure we'll see guys like Zach King and Sean Hughes move up. I would think Casey Gross would be on there as well.
Well, of course, it also weighs in the previous handful of races, so it's hard to say exactly who will be where, but we'll be able to see who moves where with those dashes. Those will turn into plus and minuses, and we'll see exactly how it looks into Bristol next week, but you got to tune in then. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning and now afternoon. A big thank you once again to Bully Dog Coffee Company and to Boosted Safe being a part of today's action today at Martinsville Speedway. And a big thank you as well to our partners here at the channel, Whiplash SimCabs, MX-Wraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. That will do it from the virtual Martinsville Speedway, one of the best racetracks on the face of God's green earth. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time.
Big run here. He does.
You see Salas starting to cover
Green
it up.
flag,
He goes up the
back
racetrack.
in the
Honeycutt's
air.
clear
Brendan
road.
Maddox
He shoves
out
up
of
in front
Buzzio. The
the
whole
field
field
loose.
chomping at the bit.
It'll be white
Green flag back in the air at Talladega.
Salas down low. Zelazny looking for a hole. Side by side, 3 wide, Coffee in it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Whiplash SimCabs. The lucky performance
Who is
overtime
going
rules
to
reminding
win
you
the
that if
Luce
we get back
Playhouse
around to the
200?
white flag,
Honeycutt
controlling the race.
official.
Coffee in second. Tires are aging. Zelazny off the top rope.
Buzzio with a
free.
push
He's
from
gonna
Dyer.
crash with
Maddox
Lights.
with a push from
And
Hughes.
yes, wall there. Who knows? Honeycutt though leading the race. Can Coffee get a run?
Zach,
He's
I
gonna
think we're
send
going to get
it.
there.
He hits him.
I think we will.
Big
Coming back
bump
around,
and
Buzzio
run. Coffee's
leads
gonna
the
try and
group.
get away. Can Salas
Through
get
the
there?
trial
Coffee's
we
gonna
go.
crash.
No caution.
Salas is gonna
Sam
crash.
Dyer looks to the
Watch Nick
outside.
Lights here
3
to
wide for the
strike
race lead.
Salas.
White flag is in the air.
Salas is
Presented by
gonna
Whiplash
do it with no
SimCabs.
front
Sam
bumper.
Dyer is all by himself on the top line, Andrew. There is nothing that he can do. He's going to start dropping back, and Brendan Maddox is out in front by himself.
Wow.
I do not want to have a gap that big.
We'll see how this one works out. Maddox moves up, now moves down. That checks up the bottom side. Here comes Buzzio. Here comes Camper. Here comes Ford, all on the top side of the racetrack. Maddox now going to try and fight back on the bottom with a push from Buzzio's teammate. That's Hughes down low, and Hughes isn't pushing the 8. Now he gets there from a push from